Nice. Hey. Hey, man, where my radio, man? Yeah. I need you to turn that up. Damn it, tonight. When you're looking at the floor, yeah. Turn on the radio. You and I turn on the radio. Yeah. When you're looking at the floor, yeah. Turn on the radio. You and I turn on the radio.
Pull the way up like we in the club. Fly flashy, grown classy, still turn it dub. Saturday mornings, no walk of shame, we fresh up. 950 lounge, that's my guilty pleasure. I don't miss my favorite show, I put everything on hold. Work the baby, even the babysitter know. When 950 come on, don't bother. I'm locked in 10 to 1, no problem.
Turn on the radio. You and I turn on the radio. Yeah.
We're back on the Rod 9 Lounge live Saturday morning. I hate these damn phones and people who look at the phone more. Yeah, I gotta say, I was doing a show, big shout to Essence. Was doing her show on, I think it was Wednesday. And I'm like, how you look at the phone?
You forgetting.
Hey, listen, I do a lot of stuff. I'm not like you on the couch all day, man. I do more before 9 a.m. before you do all day.
Off that car.
Exactly, that too. Not even funny, I tell you. Ashley, I hope you're not asking to be no comedian. I hope
Absolutely
nobody.
not.
Thank you, darling. Now you want.
Her mic was on. Oh, damn.
You gotta put that steel tight.
I gotta put it up.
Uh-oh.
But anyway, before I introduce this young lady here, let the people who are on the social medias go to DSN, W100 the broadcast, 1620 AM in Lehigh Valley, and go watch the show there. Stop cheating and watch it on your social media, even though you can do that.
Listen to it however you can.
But any event, so lovely young lady here who's a housing insider. You're looking to buy a home. You're looking about credit. We talk about the Jay-Z song 444 about being better, being more productive in business, getting your housing business together. This lady's going to tell you how to do that and how to make that happen. Ladies and gentlemen, from Silver Bull Management, CEO, Miss Ashley Killian. What's going on, huh?
Hi.
Finally got you up here, girl.
Hair all done.
Got it on a Saturday. Ready.
She's a
I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. I mean, you do so many different things.
I do.
And when we spoke, when me and Rodeo spoke to you a few weeks back, I was even unaware of the real passion you have with housing.
Yes.
And how our city is really starting to make that switch where people being put out of homes.
It's so big.
Right, exactly. So I want you to kind of touch on that a little bit.
It's a touchy topic, I come up from Harlem, and then I moved to the Bronx. So, I was able to see both sides of the coin, actually. So, when I came back from Morgan in about like 04, 05,
right,
we saw gentrification in Harlem. And us, as African-American people, we really just didn't know what it was.
Right.
We just thought it was nice buildings going up, the area was being redecorated.
Right.
But we didn't
all got
understand
excited.
that.
We saw a Magic Johnson movie theater. Oh,
Exactly.
we got movies.
But honestly, it was a takeover right before our eyes. And it escalated to Brooklyn. And as you can see now, Brooklyn is something that we've never seen before in our lives. It's a phenomenon. At this point, you have $10 million brownstones in downtown Brooklyn.
Right.
So what has happened now is, in order to get these $10 million brownstones in Brooklyn and in Harlem, they have gotten rid of a lot of our senior citizens, a lot of our low-income housing, and a lot of our people who just don't understand the system.
Right.
So, unfortunately, there are not a lot of people out there who are willing to tell you the ins and outs of really how to navigate through this system.
It's so true. I mean, I seen it happen in Chicago.
Yes.
First, I mean, my professional career has me go to Chicago a lot, and I've seen that where they, we talk about good times and Cabrini Green and Candyman, all that now is like, upscale. No, it's all upscale property. That's all been tore down.
Right.
So anybody who was in the city of Chicago, they moved them north if you was on public housing or rent control, what have you. You're not in that vicinity, and this is why you're getting. I believe, my personal opinion, you're getting a lot of the crime in the South Side because everybody's on top of each other. It's like it's cramming people on top of each other, and it's really affecting livelihoods and lives. So
absolutely,
I think here in New York, we need to learn from what we see around us and not be numb to reality.
Well, what I can say about New York, it looks like we're starting to wake up.
Okay.
Especially in Harlem, where they're stopping a lot of this regentrification. They're starting to protest and they're starting to band together. Right. And that is the key component in this whole situation is if we stick together and we know our rights, we can stop the regentrification.
Right.
Now, there's nothing wrong with trying to build up your community. That's great, but it's a way to do it. You don't push out the original components of the community.
Right.
And that's where they fall short. I work with all the Jewish people, the Arabs, everybody. So at the end of the day, I'm like your little black Jew as well. But that's only for me to be able to cope with the situation for our people.
Play the game.
It's not for me to be there like, oh, I'm trying to take from you. Actually, I'm trying to help you.
Right.
My specialty is actually vouchers. Like I help the veterans, I help the HIV population a lot. That's my niche. I run HIV shelters in the Bronx.
Wow.
I also house anyone with a voucher from Section 8, Link. It's so many different ones. You can't really even tell all of them right now. But our homelessness in New York City is at an 89% cap.
Wow.
Because people just can't afford the rent.
Right. So there are functioning people going to work every day.
Yes.
Paying taxes.
Yes.
But are homeless.
Homeless.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Homeless. And you don't know. Yeah. That's the thing, too. Like, somebody will be living in the shelter and you just don't know.
Yeah.
I had a situation, honestly. I was coming out of a play one night, and you just heard this lady just saying, can you spare some change? Could you spare some change? So when I was walking past, I was going to give her $5. And she was like, Miss Gibbs? She called me by my last name. And I'm like, oh, my God. I looked, and she used to work for me at one of my medical centers. And I was like, it just like almost brought tears to my eyes. I gave her everything I had in my bag because I'm like, that could be me. That could be my friends. It could be my family. It could be anybody. Right. At the end of the day, you just really don't know.
Yeah.
And if you don't know your guidelines and you don't know the system, it could happen to you.
A lot of times, cause like you say, it could be you. A lot of times, I drive by the shelter on Atlantic Avenue, Bedford. And a lot of them guys be at the gas station. So only time I have something, I always give. And one of the guys, I said, well, you get your situation together. I gave him my card. I said, give me a call. Because I always think we always 1, 2, 5 checks away from being in the same situation.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times when I do ride by, I always, in the back of my mind, think how people that are struggling, we all struggling, but you struggle in different ways.
Absolutely.
How are you going about trying to get yourself out of it? Because a lot of people, nobody wants to suffer.
That's the magic elixir, because sometimes you run around a circle and don't know how to get off the wheel.
Right.
It's like a revolving door.
Like a ditch, you can't climb out of it.
Ed, I know, obviously you're a homeowner as well. From a standpoint, your thoughts on what Ashley's talking about from a standpoint of working homeless or working poor.
Well, I do own a home, but the thing is, like with the working poor and everything else, it's kind of hard because when you look at it, rents are getting very high and expensive, and then they are moving people out because of the fact that the city don't want to keep the projects no more.
Right.
So they're trying to convert the projects over to more the co-ops and condos, and they're trying to really price everybody to move upstate or someplace out and don't care because they want everybody to come down.
That's what happened in Chicago.
Yeah. Right. And so now the thing is, my mother does both all of our families and stuff like that deal with the food pantry and everything else in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
so then we try to help
too.
out. I mean, I see so many people
the line
come
is crazy.
in and they getting food, they getting meals, and then and it hurts your heart.
Yes.
But the thing is that we always try to help them as much as we have the programs of trying to help them with their resume.
Right.
Try to help them get some type of. It doesn't matter what type of job is a job that at least get you some extra money to get certain things else. But it's just the problem of trying to get some type of housing for them is the main thing, because you can have a job, but you just can't afford the price.
You got to have somewhere
and
you can
you
rest your
can't meet
voice.
the requirements.
Right.
So when I house people, I'm not looking for credit because I already know the situation.
Right.
So why are you going and asking somebody for a credit check if you know they've been evicted?
Right.
Let's be realistic.
Yeah.
That's the gimmick.
Yeah.
They don't want you back.
No.
They want you to remain homeless. It's a game. It's a cycle. They make plenty of money off of you being homeless.
And you don't even have to be homeless. I mean, I'll share a story. When I was looking for a new place a couple years ago, I went into a certain area. I won't mention the area. My credit score was 5 points lower than what they claim. Everything else
Exactly.
was good. So he said, "Oh well, you know, you're 705. We need 715 or 710." I looked at him like he was crazy. You know what? That's okay.
Don't even worry about
So
it.
he said that the sad part, but he still wanted my check.
Absolutely.
I'm like, well, you want my money to check? You already told me. So you know what? No, that's okay. I'm gonna take something else.
Exactly.
Because I know for a fact you're gonna tell me from that standpoint, it's now not a credit thing. It's a racial thing.
It absolutely is a racial thing.
You know, and so that's what I took, and I think what we're experiencing, not so much racial prejudice. We're seeing racial prejudice, but we're also seeing prejudice of poor. I mean, I know some of the new properties, and you can contest this, Ashley, where they're saying they setting up side doors. Where if they do a rent control building and they give like 40%, they don't want you walking through the main door. They want you walking through a side door.
So they do that with a lot of the shelter people.
Right.
Like a lot of our shelter people live in like expensive hotels downtown where they have like a certain section and they need to come in from the side door, from the back door. It seems like old slavery tactics, in my opinion.
Come through the kitchen.
Like it's ridiculous, but they have to find somewhere for them to live. It's no room to build humongous shelters anymore, and they're trying to fall back from them because they're very dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, you have a lot of mental health issues out here in our communities that they're not addressing.
Right.
You have a lot of people who just go ballistic when they lose their home. Like, honestly, that is a devastating experience. And if you can come back for it, more power to you, because it's definitely difficult.
But you know the thing that's so sad about the whole situation too, because all these people that owns these big buildings and stuff that they're building, yes, they're giving like 40% to the homeless shelter. I mean, to the shelter people, or low income as they call it, is because it's a tax write-off for them, and they get more money just given a certain percentage, and then also they can also build the building and try to pay outrageous prices on the above apartments.
Well,
and that's what they're basically doing.
Well, it depends. I'm not gonna say it's wrong, but it's a little bit there that's tricky. The only way it's a tax write-off is if it's a non-for-profit organization.
Right.
If it's a regular for-profit organization, it's not a tax write-off. So that's something that we definitely need to know. You need to know who you're dealing with. A lot of these, investors, as they call themselves, they are not non-for-profit.
Right.
So you need to check out who you're dealing with. Who's your landlord? Know who your people are, because these could be slumlords who own several buildings for not doing right by their tenants. Don't move into their buildings. Don't give them that money. For what?
Right.
You have a lot of people coming from out of state who are pushed to New York because they're homeless. Because New York takes everybody, unfortunately.
Right.
And, I was just having a conversation with the mayor's office yesterday in references, and they said they're going to be cutting back on that because we literally accept everybody, and we have our own homeless in New York to tend to.
They're taking
It's too much.
Where are they bringing them from? I mean,
Atlanta is huge.
Really?
We get in Atlanta all day, Florida all day.
You mean they just ship them
They
up
just
here?
come. They don't ship them up here. What happens is there's no resources there for homelessness, especially the HIV population. New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles is really the main genres and areas for HIV homelessness. HIV homelessness is so big. Like, people just really don't understand this. The person sitting next to you could have HIV.
Right.
And they give them so many services in New York.
Right.
They pay for the rent. They pay for the food. They give them pocket money. They get SSD. Like, it's a shebang. They get free medical, everything, free transportation. Like, it's a whole situation for
So
them.
obviously with that, somebody is profiting off of that
Yes.
as well.
The government profits because they get the money in from federal, and then the landlords profit because they're getting the money now in from the government.
So that would give those landlords the reason not to fix an apartment or building because you know what, I'm getting my money anyway, regardless.
It depends on the client.
Okay.
If the client is persistent, then they need to fix it, because what can happen is they can go put an injunction in against the landlord. If you have repairs that need to be done and your landlord is not cooperating, go put in an injunction at the courthouse. Don't be scared. Do what you need to do. Bring them to court. Don't let them always bring you to court. You go first.
There you go.
See, I guess I live in Westchester.
It's so different. It's so different.
She jumped in. It's so different.
The rules are different.
It's so
That's why
different.
Kevin's looking at me like,
don't do
Judge,
that
you're
in
not gonna say
Westchester.
that. I'm like, bro.
Just said my fault is bigger than just keeping the flies off the ground.
Yeah, the only problem he had was burning rats.
I live in Westchester, so it's a totally different setup, totally different type of lifestyle. I mean, I live in Mount Vernon, which is right on the cusp of the Bronx.
Mount Vernon has its own issues.
Plenty.
Stop it.
Money burning.
I didn't say we were perfect now, all right? I didn't
Y'all
say
need a
we were
lot of help.
perfect. I didn't say we were perfect now, okay? We got a good mayor, and God bless that man. That man's a good man.
We'll see.
It's his first. Are you better than when I was there the last 2 years?
This is true.
brother.
We know you raised the flag.
But even still, I'm worried about the South Bronx right now because I actually work in the South Bronx.
I work in South Bronx too.
And I'm already seeing those old buildings, the Spofford jail that is getting ready to be, and from what I heard, they're getting ready to tear it down.
Well, they're rezoning over
They're
there.
rezoning it all over there now. So my question is, are they going to change the South Bronx like they changed Harlem and everywhere
Yes,
else?
but the Bronx is going to become more of like a movie situation. Like they're building, movie studios everywhere.
Yep.
Right.
It's going to be like a little Hollywood in the Bronx.
So, but they're not going to be building buildings.
They're going to give you more low-income buildings because they have to do something with the homeless right now. They have to. Like, it is astronomical how many homeless people are out here.
To the Bronx.
A lot of people are already in the Bronx.
Oh,
You just
yeah.
don't know. A lot of our
Forest
buildings,
Borough.
the difference with the Bronx, Harlem, and Brooklyn is the Bronx has the most homeless shelters, and you just don't know. Our buildings that are in the Bronx, most of them are shelters. You just don't know. Like, that apartment building could just be a huge shelter.
Really?
We just don't know.
Well, you know, like if you look at some of those spots that they building up down by 138th Street, some of those going to be, I think, a few shelters too. I think I heard that they say they was building over
Well,
there.
de Blasio put out a little incentive for landlords to take in homelessness.
Blasio.
You know, he pays $1,000 to the landlords for regular people with regular vouchers, and he pays $2,000 for the veterans.
Right.
To get housed. So he's making it more aggressive for the landlord to say, you know what, I'm going to take this client. But the landlord to say, I'm only going to take him for 1 year. So you only got 1 year in there to really do what you need to do. That's nothing.
Don't paint the walls. What about you, Steph? Your thoughts?
Well, interestingly enough, there are plenty of people that I know that are in the corporate world that I talk to every day, where they're struggling. You know, I'm not gonna name names, but I mean, it's sad when you talk to someone that you know and they're like trying to feed themselves and they don't have that money and they work for a high level company, you know, and I'm finding it more and more common, people living paycheck to paycheck.
Absolutely.
And it's extremely heartbreaking. And yeah, I found myself in that situation quite a few times, you know, but you know, you work through it and you move on and you find the best solutions to keep you going.
Ramen noodles is not just for college students anymore.
But the question is, what is making you live paycheck to paycheck? Like, what are you doing? Like, what are the steps that you're taking to not live paycheck to paycheck?